Hey everyone, this is P4L. In today's P4L review, we'll be taking a look at the Soul of Chogokin GX-71 Voltron, or GoLion if you're from the Asian area, but if you're from the Western area like us, he's Voltron, Defender of the Universe. This is obviously from Bandai and Tamashii Nation. So Soul of Chogokin is a line I've never collected before, and I'm super sad because this figure is amazing, and it actually kind of scares me that this is my first one, because it could open up a terrible slope for me. I'm just going to slide into the world of Chogokin. In any case, let's start off with packaging review. And this is pretty interesting because you'll see this as Voltron, but he is known as GoLion in Japan and Asia and so forth. But if you ordered from like Toy Dojo or other American retailers, you actually get the slipcover, which gives you the option of displaying the packaging if you do that. Come on. With the Voltron branding around it, right? So it just slips out around. Voltron, Defender of the Universe, with the key here, the badge and the key. Sorry, I'm a little sick right now. And you can see some more of that. And on the back, you get kind of the same kind of the product images here, just in English. But it's very nice that they provided that. And so again, if you order from like Toy Dojo, you will get this slipcover, which is really nice. I enjoy that a lot. But with the GoLion packaging, a little bit different, but you do get a nice big full image, full shot of GoLion, Voltron, as well as the lions forming Voltron. A lot of bling going on there. Image of him in his combined mode there. Individual lions on this side. Sorry, this box is quite large. Same shot there. Lions featuring some of the weaponry. Their lion daggers or whatever they call them. And then again, the back shot that shows a bunch of stuff. This guy comes with a ton of accessories, and it is awesome. Let's see, lions mode showing them sitting down, more quote-unquote realistic articulation. They have their weapons, the shoulder weapons that come, that kind of appear out of nowhere on the shoulders, as well as some flip-up weapons various places on some of the lions. They come with some stickers or decals. I guess stickers is technically the better term that you place. Only these numbered stickers. So if you want them, you can add them. If you don't, you don't. Bunch of weaponry, as well as a stand that houses all this weapon. You can see all the sword, the blazing sword, these kind of smaller swords that combine into this spear-like weapon, and then on the side the guns that come out for the shoulders, and then the shield, and then other stuff. It just all stores, so you get a ton of stuff. Really nice packaging. Let's actually go ahead and get this out of the box and show you the internal packaging. So I wasn't joking when I said you get a lot of stuff. So out of the box, you get this really nice manual. It's chock full of stuff like designs, where things were inspired from, artwork, original artwork from the series, all the different lions, and again some more artwork, all the accessories, and etc. And then even here, they do all these red, blue, and green lines that show off just how everything kind of works. Green lines stand for things like movement, blue stand for removable, red for detachable, and it just goes into so much detail of how every piece of accessory works. And we're going to try to go through all of that, but I'm honestly sure I'm going to miss something. And then obviously shows you how to get into combined Voltron form. But really nice packaging. This whole image right here is really cool. This tray is full of just accessories, full of just like weapons. So again, these smaller swords that combine into a spear or dual-headed spear. I don't know what you want to call that. All these different guns. For the stand, you have your option of GoLion in Japanese or Voltron in English. Alternate face. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. This tray is just for the stand, which combines, well, not combines I guess, but you put it together And it even has details that will show off later of exactly where all the weapons are supposed to go. It's molded in. Very nice. But this is what you guys really care about, right? And let's just get this nice cover, plastic cover off of that. And you get the nostalgic smell of styrofoam upon first opening this thing. It smells just like your childhood, and it's very nicely molded, and even in kind of the fashion where it looks like they're flying up. If it were vertical, it would look like they'd be forming Voltron. In addition to the 5 lines we have here, we have his blazing sword, we have his little shield throwing star thing, I don't know what it's called, and then we have the individual lion weaponry, the daggers, what I'm calling the daggers there. Alright, so let's get these guys out of this nice packaging and actually get into the review. So here we are, starting off with lion mode, and I actually gave them all their weapons and everything like that just because it's a little bit easier and less time consuming to show you guys how it all looks, and it's easier to take it off. So let's start off with Blue Lion. As you can see, one of the really nice features of these Soul of Chogokin Voltron figures is that the articulation that they put in to make it a little bit more lion-like, more realistic kind of lion-like. So you can see that it has a kind of an arch that you can extend to go straight. All of the legs are chromed out, so be wary of fingerprints. The paint is all quite nice, all kind of like glossy or metallic and everything like that. The details are nice, and a majority of these guys are filled with die cast, like everywhere, like the legs. I think most of the main body is like here. The head and the, I think, neck are basically plastic. The tail's actually the only part of all these figures, which is kind of a softer plastic, which is nice. It's a little bit pliable. So yeah, as far as articulation goes, the lines, the yellow and the blue have the same articulation, and they have an extending joint, which collapses this way, but you can pull it out, and you can see this little gray piece here. Hopefully that extends out, that telescopes out, which is great, and then it's on a set of double hinges. So you can rotate it forward and back as much as you would really need, and then get it hinged outwards. So it's not a ball joint. The arm limbs do have ball joints, but these guys don't. They're on a double hinge, basically, in that telescoping joint. A bend here, nice and ratcheted, friction here. Again, same thing on the front. And these guys actually feature, the front actually collapse in for foot mode or leg mode. So they come out a little bit. So it looks, you know, a little kind of odd, this thinness up here, but kind of what they needed to do to accomplish what they wanted. And it's nice that it collapses in and locking in the neck and head for limb mode. Same kind of articulation, ratcheted here, and then friction there. The midsection is on a tilt, so it gives you kind of like ankle tilt for combined mode, but it also gives you a little bit of freedom to get your line mode on. The tail is on a ball joint and on a hinge here, so you can collapse it up like that. His neck is on a ratchet that can go up and down a little bit. I wish it could go a little bit more than this, but you can basically go straight. You can make it go up because you're going to need that for leg mode, obviously. Nice painted detail. They even left in the green spot here, which is cool. Nice silver paint details. I have a little bit of a paint issue here, like a glop, which is kind of a bummer, but it's not too bad. And then they all, except the black line, feature some flip-up weaponry as well, which is a callback. The mouth opens, obviously, and all the weapons have a sort of tab. Well, I guess Black Lines doesn't. They have a tab that has an associated slot there. The teeth are nice. There's even molded like a blaster detail in the mouth. This one doesn't articulate for the legs, but for the arms, those pieces actually articulate. Pretty sharp, but not too bad. And then on the neck is on a ball joint, in addition to a hinge. Yeah, there should be a hinge as well as, yeah, so this is the hinge, and then there's a ball joint inside. So excellent range in the forward part of this line. I think I remember one of my line figures, old school Voltron toys, the head actually extended here, and like for Yellow Line, the ears kind of folded out with the side of the face. They don't have those kind of features here. Looking at this weapon, it does just peg into this hole here. These are kind of like missile launchers. It looks like these may be able to rotate, but I don't want to risk it. I mean, it feels like they should. But again, I'm not going to mess with it too much because I'm worried that they might break. Oh, one small detail on the line daggers is they all have a little bit of indentation that slots into the teeth. So even though you have that tab, you also have the teeth that go right into these indentations, which hold it even more firmly. This weapon here is kind of in a grayish, silvery gray, molded plastic, and then the front part here is painted, it looks like, which is kind of odd. Same thing here, back part here. I don't really remember those weapons all that well, but that's pretty much it for Blue Line. Yellow Line, oops, sorry about that. Same kind of deal. Let's look at the weapons really quickly. These feature a slot and they rotate on that slot. This one as well. So this one you can actually, put on either side, doesn't really matter. These weapons would look weird, kind of, if you plug them in a little bit backwards. So some of these weapons are really designed to be on a particular side. We'll go with a dagger real quick. All of them being unique to the show. Nice molded detail, and again that tab that goes into the top of his mouth. Same articulation, the ball joint, as well as the hinge. Up here, see, you can see that. Nice teeth, missile detail, nice blue eyes. Again, none of that flip out side face feature that one of my toys had in the past. Same articulation with that hunch, and the legs with the ratchets, frictions. Same thing, it can collapse in. The black part can collapse in, but also the telescoping limbs on the front and rear. You can see the back actually sports the port that will be used for Voltron Combined Mode. He does have the rocket or mortar kind of blasting thing that he had. All it does is rotate like this. I remember the old toy kind of like lifted up, but this one doesn't do that, it just rotates like that. Again, the tail being in that soft plastic, still really nice. That it's really hard to tell it's soft plastic and still really nicely painted. Alright, get him back over here. We'll go with Red Line. Again, his side weaponry. His is in a peg style format, these two weapons. His dagger tabs in, kind of similar to Yellow Line's. As I said before, the arms do have articulating blasters in the mouth. One of the odd things is that the way it's designed, you can, if you open the mouth, you can actually see through the back of the head, or vice versa. But that's because they give you that articulation. I don't know if that was really wholly needed. I might have preferred to have that filled in. But the neck actually collapses for combine mode, and that's an option. You can have it stuck down a little bit more if that's what you like, but it does rotate, and it actually does come off, and we're going to show off why it comes off later, but you can pull that off. That's not breaking it, that's by design. No ball joint in the head, it's just a hinge here, but you get a lot of range because you do have that rotation down here. Same as the leg limbs for Voltron. These telescope out, but these are actually on ball joints. So the telescoping joint here is die cast as opposed to plastic on the other ones, and then it has a ball joint, which is nice. That's on the front and back. And as far as I can tell, it looks like the front limbs and back limbs are actually exactly the same. And I know some animal experts out there will say that we're actually missing a segment on the hind legs for the lions to be anatomically correct, but this is how they were always portrayed in the show and in the toys. So this is quote unquote accurate to the show. The tail is on a ratchet, which is also die cast, except the tip, which is on a small ball joint, and is designed to come off so that you can combine it, but you can actually combine it with this tail on. The only downside of this tail is that it's not painted in silver to even match it. It's just gray, which stands out a lot. The other feature is this flip-up weapon here. Like I said, most of the lions have. Other articulation here, he does swivel at the waist, and then he has the bend, ratcheted bend, which becomes part of the elbow in Voltron mode. And if you want, this is also a Voltron mode feature, but you can extend it to get even more range if you wanted. It's hard to kind of show. It only bends one way, but you actually do get some extra bend there. So depending on how you have this positioned, like this, you can get it to the side, or you can go like this and get it up and down. So it's up to you. I think it's supposed to be like this though for line mode. Don't think I missed anything else. Put him to the side. Again, green line. This is also another one that's soft plastic, but again, that same kind of grayish green metallic color. Kind of a laser on this side. This does rotate, so even though it's a slot system, it does rotate. It gives you that articulation. Same thing here. The dagger. Open that up. Tab, kind of like the blue lions. Same articulation, we got the blasters in the mouth, same extending neck and the hinge down here, the mouth obviously. The same telescoping system and the ball joints, as we saw with Redline, same tail kind of deal, and then same kind of punching articulation. Again, you can do it like this if you'd like. It all depends on how you want to display them. His flip-up feature is a little bit harder to get to. There you go. Close that up. That's it for the limbs. And now we'll get to Black Line, the main body line. His blasters are twin blasters that plug into what will be the ports used for the limbs, the arms. Basically same, just mirrored. So it is actually a little bit different. It's just not the same exact mold. The dagger. This is the only one that doesn't feature a tab. I guess there was no real room for a tab because of the head or face being in there. And again, it does have a molded missile in there, but it doesn't articulate. The jaw opens and closes. It has the face in there, but again, it's on a separate hinge or separate piece that hinges. So you don't have to have it shown if you open the mouth. It does suffer from that weird jaw that Black Lion always has, just because of the way the mouth has to open to show the face. But the head is really well articulated. It's on that swivel here, but this whole neck joint actually moves up and down as well. And I think there's a single hinge here? A single hinge here. It does kind of let you look down a lot, but then it again shows the opening in the back of the head. You can actually see the Voltron face in here if you look closely. Alright, so the only other thing I wanted to complain about with this figure is that the wings sit really far away from the back. Like, you can't... I wish it laid down a little bit more. A minor nitpick, but I'm honestly, for most of this figure, I'm only doing minor nitpick because that's really all you can complain about, because this figure's so nice. Nice glossy plastic and paint and silver and chrome. It's a little weird that they went with chrome for the lower leg, but not for the thighs here and the knees. It does break up the look a little bit. Same thing with the abdomen area. That is kind of true of everything here. You can see silver paint and silver here, so not everything is chromed out. So it does have some, separation. Nice ratcheted joints on the back here. It also has this big gap. The reason is so that you can fold the legs up and have that kind of realistic sitting lion pose. There's a separate joint here that is designed just for that. You can fold that up and you can hear it click into place. But this whole gap here is just for that. I kind of wish they hadn't done that. I don't know that I'm going to use that mode so much that I need to have big gaps in the back of his thighs. But those are ratcheted. This is ratcheted and on a ball joint, which is nice. The legs are ratcheted because it's going to be the combined mode, and just friction going out. You don't get a lot of outward movement. You get a little bit. More than enough, especially for line mode, and probably sufficient for combined mode as well. You have a thigh swivel. You can only go so far. You can't go all 360. You can only go this far and this far out, but we'll show that off a little bit more. He does have an ab crunch. And if you want, you can actually collapse this to make it a little bit more squat. You do get a little bit less of that ab crunch if you do that. The tail is on a swivel here. A hinge here, sorry. And then it has a ball jointed tail like the rest, and the soft tail. The wings are on a swivel. And if you wanted, you can get them kind of posed out however you'd like. The shoulders are interesting. They come out on a set of hinges, but you can collapse them in if you'd like, and you were going to collapse them for combined mode. Ratcheted. You do have a little bit of hollowness here. Ratcheted, ratcheted. So Black Lion has ratchets on most of his joints, in most directions. And again, did I mention a ball joint at the foot? Yeah, I think I did. So I think that's all the articulation. I did forget to show you guys off the stickers. So you get this small little sticker sheet, and there, not only are they numbered for the lions, they actually have numbers for where they go if you need instructions. Yeah, so 1 obviously goes here, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to stick them on later, but I wanted to show you guys that they do come with them, and they're nice and shiny and glossy. Apply them as you will. or not. Now we're going to go ahead and get into combine mode, which is pretty simple. As you would expect, it's very much like any other Voltron, but it does have a nice little tricks to it. So let's go ahead and go with the legs, because that's how you do with Voltron. You're going to swing this up, and then you're going to collapse that black piece as well as the legs, the telescoping legs. There's a little black piece here, die-cast piece, that you bring down, and what you're supposed to do is basically get this in a line. So you tilt the head up, and you can see that it forms kind of a flat surface here. And you're supposed to curl up the legs to also support that. So you don't pull them all the way back, because if you do, they're going to sit a little high. You want to pull them a little bit down and in line with that heel. It's an optional heel piece, but definitely worth having. So the legs, same thing. Collapse the telescoping joint. Get them in position like so. Fold up the tail. And the tail's really nice because it does have a little bit of a tab on the back to make it easy to pull out. And is that the way I'm supposed to fold it? I think maybe it's supposed to go like this. Yeah, it's supposed to go like that. Either way works, but that's how you do. And then you're going to open this back part up and push this in. This is one point that I want to make. It's not spring-loaded like some Voltrons, so sometimes when you push it in, it gets stuck. Luckily, there is a little tab here to help you do it, but it's so small, and sometimes it gets stuck really hard that you might need like a spudger tool. I've been using my spudger tool to go right in that slot and pull it out without damaging the figure, but just be aware of it, okay? So same thing over here. Fold this up like that. Pull the head up like this. The red piece, which is die cast here. The legs, and the legs when you collapse them, because I'm not going to go back into line mode later because it doesn't really make that much sense to do so. When these black pieces collapse in, when you transform back, oops, sorry about that. Oh, there is actually a ball joint in the neck. My mistake. Did I say, maybe I did say that. I did say that. The limbs don't. But when you do that, oh, sorry, I didn't collapse this. And you transform it all the way back down, the black pieces come back up by themselves. So you can't really collapse them in this position. You just have to rotate them up before you can collapse. So again, a nice little gimmick. Get the legs transformed like so. The legs curled up and collapsed in. And then, once again, pull this back, push this down in preparation for combining. I'm going to just form all the limbs first before actually combining. Just close the telescoping I don't know why I keep saying telescoping arms on or limbs. Fold these up like so. I'm gonna show these with this on, but if you want, you can take this off. The concern is that when you plug it in, if it actually breaks off in there, not breaks off or pops off in there, it might be a pain to get out. Close up the mouth. If you want, you can go ahead and collapse the head in, and if you want at this point, you can also expose that extra joint. I'm gonna do that now. Just bring this down like so. Same thing for green line. One little nice feature that they have here is that they molded a little space so that there's a little opening, opening so that the paws sit right in. Close these up. Collapse those joints, get that down. Collapse the neck, and expose the elbow joint. You're gonna want that hinge piece, because it doesn't hinge both ways. It only hinges one way. You want that facing forward. And then Black Lion will just go ahead and get his legs straightened out. Technically, for Voltron mode, you're going to want to collapse the waist. You don't have to, but that's technically how it's supposed to be. Let's just get the wings up and out of the way for now. And the tail actually has a little gap here that holds together there. It's supposed to hold that together, but then you lose ab crunch. So you can just keep it untabbed loosely if you want to make use of that ab crunch. If you don't, you can go ahead and just tab that in and it locks it into place. I don't think that was necessary. It takes away from articulation that robot mode could use. So I think you can just leave it untabbed lightly. The arms, you come in to the front and they open up like this. And you just fold the arms in. You just straighten out the feet. And you close it up. They fit in quite nicely. You're going to want to rotate these around. And then collapse, again, the telescoping shoulders. One extra feature here is not only do they collapse in, they actually have tabs that lock them into place. So just push those in until you feel a definitive click. Like so. And then you form the chest. Get the wings down like this. And they're obviously molded to fit perfectly there. And we're going to do the head last, obviously. So, for feet and legs, coming back here, there's 2 points. There's this little tab piece that goes in here. And there's a little button that you're going to need to press on the leg limbs. So just get it in, press it in. Once you get that all done, you'll see that this little lip here will come up and close. And it's really solid. Just when you remove it, just remember to open that up, press on here, and it comes right out. And unlike a lot of other Voltron figures, I don't feel like there's going to be a lot of scratching or damaging of the Black Lion legs for this guy. I'm not going to be doing that a lot, but I don't have any concerns that you're going to damage your figure. So you can play with him as much as you'd like. Combine as much as you'd like. Same thing on this side. Remember to press that button. Get it all the way in. Close that up. So you form the feet and legs. Now you're going to form the arm and body, or torso, depending on which dub you listened to as a kid. Coming up to the upper body, just go ahead and plug these straight in. Again, there is clearance for the tails to go in. Just be careful when you pop them off. And there we go. That was easy. Now, we'll form the head, which come down like this. You open the mouth all the way, and if the Voltron face comes down by itself, so be it, but you can go ahead and pull it down separately, like so. Form like the crest, and they suggest you actually push this down into the main body. You don't have to, but it just makes it look a little bit more proportioned if you do that. And there we go. We have Voltron all formed. Defender of the universe and all. And he looks really, really great. I will say that the proportions are a little bit off for me in a couple places. But looking all the way around, he's just a shiny, die-cast, really, really heavy piece. It's really amazing what they've accomplished with this guy. Aside from these complaints here, and the other complaints I have are, I feel like the arms feel a little bit small. Not in terms of length, but in terms of just bulk. I would have liked them to be a little bit bigger. The torso is where I had my biggest issue, is that it looks a little too squat. Like, this looks really, really squat compared to how long the legs are. And again, if you want, you can go ahead and extend that joint. I think this looks a lot better. However, this looks odd to me. This not one solid piece having that kind of disjointed look, that bothers me quite a bit. I think, especially when looking at the actual photo of Voltron, he should be a little bit more square here, and then they could probably made this a little bit bigger. But that's just a stylistic choice that they did. If you want to do it as they designed, this does look more like how he's supposed to look. It just, the proportions look off to me. So I like doing it like this. It's up to you. Once again, if you don't want to tab in the tail, you can make use of that ab joint, ab crunch. But if not, go ahead and secure it. And then you do get a waist swivel. You do have all this kind of articulation here with the ratcheted arms. You can go all the way around, go out like this. Same swivels that we had here and here in line mode, but again with that extended joint. So this is how much you get if you didn't extend that joint. With that extra joint, which is a friction joint, you do get 90 degrees, which is nice. And again, it doesn't go the other way. Same thing for both sides. The head can swivel around, can look up. If you use that extra joint in there, he can look down, although it breaks up the look of the head a little bit. Let's see. We already talked about the legs, the ratchet legs. The die cast is so heavy in the legs though, even with these pretty nice ratchets, they could have been a little bit tighter to make this hold up. I mean, they just don't do the job. And again, that friction joint going out, it only lets you go about this far, but actually the friction joints hold better than the ratchet joints, I think. But that was a design choice for them. Again, the thighs, you can't go all the way around, but you can go out as much as you would really want thighs to go turn. Oh, I guess just show backwards if you want that. Nice ratcheted knees, but you don't get 90 degrees with them. The ankle tilts here, they go out and in, and then you get the same toe articulation with the line head, and then that heel, if you want, you can get it positioned in different ways to help support. And it's a pretty tight friction joint on the heel, so it will support in a variety of different poses. As far as molded detail that I noticed in this mode, one of the things that they show off in the drawings is, in I think 1 or 2 episodes, he shoots like beams from the side of his crest here, and they actually molded in detail for that, and I don't think I've ever seen that before. So they have a little rectangular molded detail in there, which is quite nice. It just goes to show how much detail they went into for this figure. There we go. And he looks really, really majestic. For size comparison, the only figure that I guess kind of makes sense for me to compare to is MP1, because he is about the same size, and he's definitely heavier than MP1, I would say, just from feeling it. Way more die cast overall than this guy, and this guy has a lot. But this will give you an idea, since I'm mostly a Transformer collector, and I think most of you guys are too. Alright, now we can get into all the different accessories he has for this mode. So first, Blazing Sword. Really nicely done. Really nicely vacuum chromed. It's a little bit soft. And it does have a tab. So those tabs that we used for the weapons in the mouth, you can go ahead, mouth of the arms, you can make use of those. Tab in quite well, and you close that up. And you can use it in either hand, doesn't really matter. All the weapons he has are like this, what's it called? This throwing star thing. I don't know what it's called. You can make use of it as a shield with this extra accessory that plugs in here. And then it has a tab system on the handle, and that's pegged in as well. So you can rotate it for this hand if you'd like, or the other hand if you think Voltron's a lefty. So you can come around like this, or to the front, however you'd like. It does have these other, what I think they called spears. Work the same way. They are slightly different in that this one has this little tab piece so that you can combine both of them together. Oh, I guess you should have the tabs all facing one way. But yeah, that will tab in to the hand as well. You can use all the weapons as you would expect. What other features does he have? So he does have an alternate face. This is kind of the yelling face. The only thing I would say about this face is I wish they painted the inside of his mouth, but not a big deal. And to do that, just lift this up. And it's not the whole face. It's not the blue part. You just go ahead and kind of get in here. Come on. Lift up on it. And you'll see these two small tabs at the top that have corresponding spaces here. And then you could have the yelling face. And it can transform with both. Other stuff, let's go ahead and get into the display stand. So here we have the display stand. Pretty easy. You just put these two halves together. Like that. And like that. I guess it's technically not halves, I don't know what I'm talking about. All three of these pieces come together first. And then this tabs in like this. This piece will actually slot in here. And then, as I said before, you have the two choices of Voltron or GoLion. We're going to go with Voltron. Two tabs that go into the front. Alright, so all these pieces, all these weapons go in some way, shape, or form. This one goes down here like this. This one goes up here like this. We have the black lions first that goes up like this. Then we have red that uses tab here. Got green. Probably should have went the other way. And then blue. And all these can kind of go in whatever slot, but this is the way it's supposed to go so that they're all centered. And then yellow. Alright, so that's all in. The blazing sword will display at the top. If I can get it out of Red Lion's teeth. Like this. The shield will come in, and you gotta take this off, but you can see there's some molding in there so that you can kind of rest that in. Sorry for that quick cut. I figure you guys didn't really need to see me plug all these in, but like I said, they all have molded outlines, so it's easy to figure out where everything goes. This is how everything is kind of oriented. The extra face does have that a little stand here that it can tab into. These pieces go there, and again, as before, you just slot that in. I guess the only thing that you don't have a space for that I can figure out, maybe it's on the bottom here or something like that. Yeah, I don't see any space for this extra piece. However, that's not it for this thing. There are 4 extra pieces. Come on. Let's get, pretty sure it's 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these little pieces here, these round pieces, they actually serve a purpose. So if you collect Tamashii Nation's figures, you're probably familiar with this thing. It's like the stages, they have different accessories. This actually plugs into that. And then you take off the head. Remember we showed that off before, right? And what you do is plug this in. Oh, plug this into the back of the lion heads, and then you can do like blasting lion head displays, which is cool. I mean, this again, just the thoughtfulness of interacting with different items and stuff like that is really great with this set. And again, this is probably what they do with all Tamashii Nation Soul of Chogokin figures, but this is my first experience with them, so I'm really amazed that they're integrating so much detail and so many just small things into this figure that I'm really enjoying it. I probably didn't sound that excited while I was reviewing it, but I'm super excited for this. I've always been a Voltron fan, and to have this be my first modern Voltron, I couldn't be really happier. It's not perfect. Like I said, there's some things I would definitely change, but all this is just phenomenal figure and value. So, final thoughts. Get this guy. If you care an iota about Voltron, you would be doing yourself a disservice by not getting this figure. He's that good. The quality is beyond any real collectible I've seen in this price range, and even probably higher. The heft, I mean, his ratchets and his thighs could be definitely stronger. There are some design changes I would have made, like the midsection waist here, but all that kind of fades away when you're playing with this guy. And I use that word play very specifically because you can play with this guy. He's not just a statue. Very playable. All that articulation that you get with the different lions and all the different weapons that you get, the different weaponry that's hidden everywhere. He's just phenomenal. And to think that this guy is like $300, and for us Transformers fans, $300 doesn't get you anything close to what you get with this line. And I'm feeling like I'm super late to the game with Soul of Chogokin. And again, I'm not going to be collecting a lot of figures from this line. Probably just the Mazinger Z stuff moving forward and maybe into the past. But this guy is by and large the single best figure I've gotten for the value in as long as I can remember, maybe since I started collecting. It doesn't have as much nostalgia factor for me as Transformers, but as far as a collectible and toy, he's just phenomenal. I can't compare it to any other SOC figures because again, this is my first one. But from what I've heard from other fans, this guy is up there with the best of that line, which is exciting to hear. So moving forward, I'm really excited to hopefully do some more reviews of SOC stuff. I do have the Icarus Voltron coming out, the officially licensed new version of the Mad Toys one, which is also featured a lot of diecast, which is also really well received. That new version, which is officially licensed and highly changed as far as articulation and molding, that should be coming out sometime after Chinese New Year in March. And once I get that, I'll do a direct comparison with this guy. But I gotta say, I don't know how much better they can make a Voltron than this guy. The attention to detail is just phenomenal. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm just that excited. This has been a long review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section below. Toy Dojo does have a few more of these coming. They were able to get their hands on a few more. So if you haven't ordered this guy, again, order him. He's that phenomenal. Alright, so if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and share with everyone else that you enjoy sharing your collection with. And I think that's going to be all for today, everyone. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.